Hey there, comic book community. My name is Joe, and this is 360 Comics. Now, it's been a while since I brought you a video about affordable key issues, so I decided to come back with a bang and drop 10 books from one of the hottest runs of all time, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, that you can get for $20 or less. Before we hop into that list, just a reminder, we're doing a 6,000 follower giveaway over on Instagram where you can win these 2 Warlock keys. We've got Warlock number 12, the origin story of Pip the Troll, and Warlock and the Infinity Watch number 2, the first team appearance of the Infinity Watch. Now, as of the time of recording, we are less than 200 followers away from our 6,000 follower goal. So now is the time to go enter so you don't miss out. Also, stick around here on YouTube. You'll want to make sure you subscribe because we're doing a big 1,500 subscriber giveaway that I'm announcing soon. Whether he's one of your favorites or not, I think we can all agree that Spider-Man is hands down the most well-known and the most well-loved character in the history of Marvel Comics. Now, that being said, his popularity is still on the rise. It is growing at all times, especially after that last movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. It has broken so many records and really just pushed the character back into the mainstream view that I really don't think he has seen since the Tobey Maguire days. And, you know, Tobey Maguire coming back in the role probably has something to do with it, a big nostalgia factor. And you know, with the rise of popularity comes the rise of the value of the key issues of Spider-Man, especially the big ones. In fact, Amazing Fantasy 15, Spider-Man's first appearance, has soared this past year and has broken the all-time comic book record with one copy selling at, I believe, $3.6 million. That's million with an M. Big amount. Lots of money. That being said, there are still affordable key issues out there you can get in a high grade for $20 or less. So I figured, hey, let's put 10 of them together in a video. You can be on the lookout. And these books definitely have potential to grow with rising tides. You know, it raises all ships, not just the big keys, also the small ones. And as they unfold Spider-Man's universe, both in the live-action MCU as well as the animated series and animated movies, they're gonna have to use other characters other than the ones that we've seen already. They're gonna want to expand his rogues gallery, his supporting cast, and his allies. So these books are great ones to look out for. Let's kick it off right here with the Amazing Spider-Man 161. And you notice I'm starting at 161, and I'm actually going in chronological and numerical order. But because Spider-Man is so popular, all of his single-digit and double-digit issues are over $25, and a lot of them are into the triple digits. That being said, we're kicking it off right here with 161, which you can get for about $20. This is not only the first cameo appearance of Jigsaw, who is a minor character. I wouldn't call him anything special, but I think more importantly, this is the first meetup between Spider-Man and my favorite X-Men. Not only my favorite X-Men, but my favorite comic book character ever, Nightcrawler. And maybe I'm a little bit biased on this one, but I think this is a fantastic late 70s Spider-Man key, you know, kind of the middle of the Bronze Age. And I just think it's perfect. You know, when I think Marvel Comics, at least me, maybe this is from the time period in which I grew up in the 90s and my personal preferences. But when I think Marvel, I honestly think Spider-Man and X-Men before anything else, even with the popularity of the Avengers in the MCU. So I think this is a great one to pick up, and it's got an awesome cover as well. Now, speaking of awesome covers, this book, this next one at least, is a key just because of the cover, just because of this classic Kingpin cover here, and I think it perfectly illustrates everything we know and love about the Kingpin, his domineering presence, his ability to take control of any situation, and just his focus in every single panel that he's in. He is the focal point there, and I love this cover, man. we only see a little bit of the Kingpin, just his hind side and the back of his legs, but him standing over Spider-Man as Spider-Man looks defeated there on the ground perfectly illustrates this character. In fact, I think this book is pretty undervalued for how awesome the cover is. You can get it for like $15. I've actually picked high grade copies up for $8 to $10 before, and I've got a couple of them. This is a book that I've kind of done a little cover speculation on, thinking that this is just a great way to pick up some cool Kingpin stuff. And the thing about it is, it's my favorite Kingpin cover, and you barely see any of him on it. If you can't afford Amazing Spider-Man 50, that's a very expensive book, the first appearance of Kingpin. Even 51, in a mid-grade is about $100 right now. You can grab this one. It's a much later appearance, but it is just a great Kingpin cover. Next up, we've got Amazing Spider-Man 172. This is the first appearance of Rocket Racer. And in fact, I actually found this book in a dollar bin recently. I don't know what it was doing there. I think I just got lucky. But nonetheless, the first appearance of a character, not a very big one, but one with some potential. These smaller characters, lesser known guys, they have some potential to grow enormously if they're ever announced for a movie or television show or even an action figure line or something like that. Even when characters like this return to the comic books and there's nothing else in sight other than a comic book appearance, there's still some renewed interest and therefore a spike in value. I think a lot of these Bronze Age, lesser known villains and supporting characters are something we need to look out for as the Spider-Verse explodes and expands. This next one, this character is not a minor character, but this isn't her first or second appearance. We've got Amazing Spider-Man 204, the third appearance of Black Cat. Now, originally I was going to include her second appearance on this list, but it turns out I looked up the price, and as of the past year, it has gone above the $20 limit, so I decided to leave it off, and I put this copy on. This is about a $15 book. Sometimes you can get it for $10, but we got the Amazing Spider-Man 204, like I said, the third appearance of Black Cat. This character is one that needs to be utilized in the MCU, in my opinion. I think that she would translate so great to, live action with what they're doing with the MCU. Just a great supporting character. Sometimes, battling against Spidey, other times teaming up with him. A really interesting and in-depth character that they have fleshed out for decades and used over and over and over again. And there's even some speculation on here. I believe the actress Anya Taylor-Joy, who was in Split and Queen's Gambit, among many other things. There's been some rumors about her. Who knows if they're true or not? Only time will tell, but I think she's a great actor, and I would love to see her in the role personally. Now, we were talking about third appearances. This next book is also a third appearance of a major villain. We've got Amazing Spider-Man 244, the third appearance of Hobgoblin. I love this cover. We don't see Hobgoblin himself, but we see his signature pumpkin bombs coming at Spidey. Spidey in a really great position. Despite no Hobgoblin on the cover, I think this is a great cover. It's the third appearance of the character. Not only that, but it's the first appearance of Lefty Donovan, who is a criminal hired by Roger Kingsley, the actual Hobgoblin, and he's one of the many characters that is either poses for Roger Kingsley as the Hobgoblin, or has his mind controlled by Roger Kingsley in order to kind of throw people off from him, make him think he's not the Hobgoblin. He does it really smart. In fact, I feel like most of the appearances of Hobgoblin are not Roger Kingsley himself, but other people such as Lefty Donovan and Ned Leeds is another one. This is part of the original run, the early part of the the Hobgoblin storyline. They did a couple books at a time here and there over the course of the 80s, and they really fleshed out the character. There were a lot of editor and writer changes, though, so you can kind of tell things take different turns. Nonetheless, third appearance of a great character. first appearance of a supporting character that has to do with the major character storyline, and a great cover. Can't go wrong here. This book's about $15, $20. Again, you can probably find it for 10 somewhere. But on to the next. We've got the first appearance of the Rose. Now, this is not necessarily the Rose's real first appearance. The Rose, for those of you who don't know, is Richard Fisk, the son of Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. He has gone by a couple different names over the course of the Amazing Spider-Man runs. I believe the Schemer's one of them. I can't remember the rest, but this is his first appearance as the Rose. It's got a cool Rose cover, and definitely I think there's some potential for this character, given that we now have Kingpin in the MCU. Will we end up seeing Richard Fisk at some point? Who knows? And even if we do, will he take on one of the roles, of a villain or one of the code names that he uses? Who knows? But again, I do think that if he does take on a role like that, I think it would be the Rose, probably the most interesting and iconic character that Wilson Fisk plays. So it's a big old maybe, but this book, $7-10 maybe. It's a really affordable key. I don't think I said the number. It's Amazing Spider-Man 253. So look out for that one if you can get it for cheap. Next, we got just a couple issues later, Amazing Spider-Man 255. This is the first appearance of Black Fox, and this is the cheapest book on the list. Black Fox, obviously not a major character by any means, but honestly, the thing I really like about this book is the cover. I think that this could someday be considered an iconic or classic cover. It is not currently listed as such on any websites that I looked at, but man, this cover's cool. Let's be real. And it is a first appearance as well, so you're kind of picking it up for two reasons. This book, $5 all day. Really, really cheap and affordable book. In fact, I believe I bought this copy for just $3, and I have a bunch of them. Looking for that 9.8 all the time because I would love to have this book slabbed up, despite it being a not very expensive book. Look out for this one. Like I said, it's got potential. It's a minor character. Who knows who they're going to use in the MCU and the animated shows, and also the cover is crazy cool. Coming in next, we got Amazing Spider-Man 292. Now, this is not the regular printing of the book. This is it's called So Much Fun printing or So Much Fun variant. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a regular copy. I know I have one somewhere, but this is actually more expensive than the regular one. So the regular one does not say the word classic here, and it just has a normal Spider-Man down there instead of saying So Much Fun at the bottom. That being said, this is a key because it is an issue. It is the issue in which Mary Jane finally accepts Peter Parker's marriage proposal. That's the key significance. Unfortunately, I think the cover kind of takes away from the value of it. Really, this book can be had for between $5 and $10 all day. Really easy to find, but it does have some serious key significance, especially if you care about Peter Parker's personal life. There's a lot of collectors that really like to get those keys because, honestly, most of those are very affordable, and they definitely have some serious significance with Spider-Man's storyline. Like I said, this variant is a little bit more expensive, kind of in the $20, $30, maybe even $40 range in a high grade, but it's a lot harder to find. You're probably going to find the regular version, but if you ever see this one and it's cheap, definitely snag it. It's worth it. Next, we've got The Amazing Spider-Man 328. We're into the 300s now. This is such a classic Todd McFarlane cover featuring the Gray Hulk, Joe Fixit, and Spider-Man on the front. And one of the things I love about it is classic McFarlane at its best. You can look at the characters and know it's Todd McFarlane. And not only that, but man, he did a great job smashing up the trade dress that's up here. That is such a McFarlane thing to do. He was really one of the first people that started kind of breaking outside of the box, whether it was, characters going, overlapping panels, or, kind of surging out of the panel at you, or things like this on the cover. He really pioneered that style. And I've watched interviews before where he said he was told not to do that stuff, the stuff that he is known for, the stuff that we think his art is like amazing for. He was actually told not to do it at first. They didn't think it was going to be a good thing for comics. They thought it was tacky, but guess what? Obviously it turned out to be a good idea, and it stuck for a long time. In fact, long time. This was Todd McFarlane's last Amazing Spider-Man issue. He started at 298. That was his first Amazing Spider-Man. This issue was his last. So he was there for, I guess that's a couple years, probably about 2 years on the title. And this was his farewell. I love collecting artists and writers first and their last. That's something that I personally look into a lot. Especially with the ones I really like. Frank Miller, Chris Claremont, Todd McFarlane is definitely one of them. Moving on to our last book, we've got Amazing Spider-Man 363. Now, this is another third appearance of a major character. It's a third appearance of Carnage. He first appears in 361, then 362, and then 363 right here. This book can be had for about $15 to $20 in a high grade. The issue before, it used to be like a $10, $15 book, but that one again has exceeded the value. In fact, I see them going for about $40 right now. That's Amazing Spider-Man 362. And of course, 361, you really can't get it in any grade for like under $80, $100. And high grade ones, they were over $1,000 for a while. They've kind of fallen to a little bit below that at this point. So this is really the affordable Carnage key to pick up. And not only that, it's got a fantastic Mark Bagley cover, really with key issues. The significance of inside the book is obviously very important. But as you see with a lot of these, the cover has such an impact as well. You got to remember that. You got to look out for that, especially if you're slabbing up a book and you can't read it. You can't see the significance on the inside. Well, you want to have something nice to look at on the outside. This is definitely one of them. Bagley did a killer job with these 3 floating heads and the spider web in the background. And I love the green, like that like pale green in the background. It really contrasts the red that every character has in their face. I think he did a great job at that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was, again, 10 Spider-Man key issues that you can get for $20 or less, all from the original Volume 1 of Amazing Spider-Man. Now, you notice most of these were 70s, 80s, and 90s stuff, which is really a lot of the popularity as far as Spider-Man goes. And, of course, it didn't have any of the 60s or early 70s stuff because that was just too expensive. It is what it is. Hopefully, I'm going to come out with another one of these videos soon. There are definitely a lot more ASM keys that I could have included, so I'm definitely going to compile another list at some point, so look out for that video. Make sure you give this one a thumbs up for a like. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this video and these keys, and of course, subscribe to the channel, enter the giveaways, and have a good time. Until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.